This is the newsroom for today, Wednesday, November 12th, 2025. We are broadcasting to you on E1, SKAR TV, NTN, and TARZEE TV in Bartica. In the headlines, Guyana's daily oil production hits 900,000 barrels. Court case involving gas station attackers adjourned to December 3rd. Mega plans for the ancient county unveiled at Berbice Development Summit.
Each scenario shows a different policy focus, but shares a common vision, turning molecules into jobs.
Residents share their views as consultations for a city drainage plan unfold. And in sport, Team Guyana, eyeing 5th consecutive title as Senior Caribbean Squash Championship, switched to Guyana and 5-member Guyana team of the Paintball World Cup in Miami. With the news, I am Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for joining us. We start off by telling you that ExxonMobil Guyana Limited and its Stabroek Block co-venturers, Hess Guyana Exploration Limited and CNOOC Petroleum Guyana Limited, today announced that they reached a new production milestone of 900,000 barrels of oil daily. This achievement comes just months after the successful startup of Yellowtail, Guyana's 4th offshore project, which has now achieved its initial annual average production capacity of 250,000 barrels of oil per day. This, combined with excellent operating performance from Liza Phase 1, Liza Phase 2, and Payara assets, are contributing to achieving this significant milestone. The court case involving 4 of the individuals involved in a deadly gas station attack has been adjourned to December 3rd, 2025, following a partial disclosure on Wednesday. The partial disclosure was made on Wednesday when the Venezuelan national Daniel Alexander Ramirez Podemo, the alleged mastermind behind a deadly mobile gas station bombing, and 3 of his co-accused appeared before Magistrate Fabio Azor at the Georgetown Magistrate Court. The matter, which had been set for disclosure, saw the prosecution handing over some statements to the defense. The court was informed that further disclosure will be made at the next hearing, after which the case will proceed via paper committal to determine whether there is sufficient evidence for trial in the High Court. Appearing alongside Podemo were Alexander Betancourt, Johnny Budram, and Crystal LaCruz, who were all jointly charged in connection with the October 26, 2025 explosion at the fuel station at Regent and King Street, Georgetown, which claimed the life of a 6-year-old girl. The matter was adjourned to December 3, 2025 for final disclosure. A paper committal is a legal process in which a magistrate examines the written evidence to determine whether there is enough to send an accused person to stand trial in the High Court. 7 people, including Podemo, have been charged in relation to the deadly gas station bombing, which investigators believe was a planned and coordinated operation. The 3 other accused, Guyanese nationals Wayne Correa, Ramesh Pramdio, and Jennifer Rodriguez, were charged separately so that the matter can be heard in the magisterial district where their alleged offenses were committed. Their case will be heard again on November 24th. Massive infrastructure plans are on the horizon for Berbice as President Irfaan Ali unveiled an ambitious vision to transform the county into Guyana's next industrial revolution. This development will be supported by accelerated timelines, unprecedented infrastructure development, and the full monetization of the nation's natural gas resources by 2030. Key investments in Berbice will include power plants, advanced data centers, heavy industrial zones, a Berbice gas pipeline, railway connectivity, subsea cable landing stations, terrestrial fiber and water infrastructure, along with direct reduced iron and fertilizer plants. These plans were outlined at the ongoing Berbice Development Summit.
If managed strategically, the gas can build an entirely new industrial base for Guyana, from fertilizer and steel to plastic and digital services, all anchored in a single gas landing and in an industrial corridor. Each scenario shows a different policy focus, but shares a common vision, turning molecules into jobs. Developing a composite scenario can be built after the involvement of this room and understanding what vehicle give us the greatest value, the highest inclusion, great employment, and massive transformation.
Our strategy, though, goes beyond bricks and mortar. We're investing in people as well. All of this new development, all of this new opportunity requires skill sets to be developed. And so there'll be vocational training, digital upskilling, STEM education, leadership programs are all part of the plan to lift the capability of the working people of Berbice.
Now, as part of efforts to strengthen the country's transplant and organ donation program and reduce the hefty $3,000 cost, local doctors will soon be sent to Brazil for specialized training. Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony on Wednesday on the sidelines of an event disclosed the major step to reduce the costs of compatibility testing for kidney transplants, a procedure usually done overseas. The minister's remarks follow a recent engagement with a high-level delegation from Brazil's Ministry of Health and the Brazilian Cooperation Agency.
We want to move our program from having live donors to also go in the direction of disease donors for kidneys. So they're going to assist us in training, developing capacity locally to be able to do that. In addition to that, one of the important things when you're doing transplant is to make sure there's compatibility between the donor and the recipient. And we have certain procedures and tests that we have to do, but every time you have to do that test, it will cost approximately $3,000 US. And we have to send the things abroad, like in Miami, to be able to do that test. So we have been working on developing our own lab here in Guyana, our own HLA lab, and we have bought all the equipment, and we are now working with the Brazilians to be able to send some of our staff over to Brazil to receive this type of training. Many of the other transplants program in the Caribbean would want to send their HLA samples to us to review. So this is building capacity not only for Guyana, but for the rest of the Caribbean.
When the news returns, we tell you about the new Georgetown Drainage Development Plan. Stay tuned. Welcome back. This is the newsroom. Consultations for the government's new Georgetown Drainage Improvement Project are ongoing, and residents of the city are sharing their views on how the project can be better implemented. The Ministry of Housing, the Ministry of Local Government and Regional Development, the Central Housing and Planning Authority, the Guyana Lands and Surveys Commission, the National Drainage and Irrigation Authority, and the Georgetown Mayor and City Council are working together on this project that aims to improve drainage and foster better urban development.
Part of the drainage improvement, we want to integrate it with urbanization. So what that means is that this is North Road Canal. You all know it by border there. So if we're to line this channel as we recommended with concrete, we want to add something to it. And we propose that with a concrete line drain, we can create the kind of parking you want above it. You create space and you have well-engineered location where we can go and clean this out. So this is what some of the recommendation we have put together is as you improve in drainage, you can create space and create parking. We also suggest areas like by where the old train station is. Whenever there's a function, you know, there's a lot of traffic there. With this project, we can improve and create some space as well. Along Vissingen Road, you have all these new food outlets. They're part of it. I will show to you which we propose for you to understand. So this is what the Vissingen Road look like. So if we were to line this channel with concrete, we also preserve. Georgetown is known for clean waterways. You want to see the water. Part of it will remain an open channel with the sides being concrete, and the areas where you have the heavy traffic, you know, we can put these covers in and create more space to enhance the city as well.
What we would like your feedback is to enhance our work to implement the mandate that has been presented by His Excellency.
What we hear about is a technical task force that also has even benefited from the input of the researchers at the University of Guyana, and it has gotten information through the Mayor and City Council, and we thank those engineers and so on there. But what we would really like to hear this evening are your recommendations of how we can move forward. That is our focus.
I think regardless of what is done, the bottom line is maintenance. And I have a couple of ideas here. As someone who really traverses the streets of the city, I see some of the issues. The manual method of cleaning a lot of the drains can no longer work. You've got to employ some pumps along with some manual support. You have to liaise with the Ministry of Health and the other relevant agencies, probably the Ministry of Human Services, to get the vagrants and the street dwellers off, because they go through the bins, they rubbish the bins, people donate food to them on a nightly basis, they leave the food boxes and the cups all about the place, the rubbish falls in the drain. A lot of the drains along, for instance, the Main Street Avenue are not cleared periodically. You have to call or message someone and they'll say, okay, we'll come and clean the drain. There's no system of maintenance. It's totally absent where that is concerned in terms of ensuring that the waste does not get into the drains, to the trenches, to the canals.
We firstly need to be our brother's keeper, because the government cannot be spending a lot of money to get things done, and people are not making their contribution to preserving and having these things kept how they should be kept. And I think it starts with us. We have to look at the man in the mirror and have questions for him. Yo, are you willing to continue what is being started? Are you willing? We have to talk to ourselves, because I see several occasions, government agencies cleaning up, and when you go back a week or so after, they are set. Yeah, a lot of garbage around. You can't believe, well, That place was cleaned last week. So my recommendation is that we need to start having some firm measures put in place for these persons that likes to litter places. We need to jail these persons or let these persons do some community service. The same places that they messed it up, they should go and clean it.
New healthy eating recipe book. Stay tuned. Welcome back. This is the newsroom. Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony on Wednesday launched the Colorful Cooking for a Healthy Living recipe book with emphasis on nutritional meals. More in this story.
The Ministry of Health's Colorful Cooking for a Healthy Living recipe book was launched on Wednesday with emphasis on nutritional meals. Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony, during remarks at the launch held at the Guyana at Kingston, Georgetown, said a healthy diet is essential for preventing chronic diseases.
If you want to stay healthy, then one of the things that you have to start doing is thinking about what you eat. And it's as simple as that. And you can change your diets in your home, what you eat in the morning, what you eat at lunch, what you eat at dinner. And if we start doing that, we can prevent a lot of these chronic diseases from happening.
He emphasized the importance of prevention, noting that a long and healthy life starts with a focus on diet and exercise.
We have to start with the simple things, the daily things that we do, which means that we have to start eating appropriately.
This free recipe book is available for public knowledge and encourages healthy lifestyles. It was developed by the ministry with partners who have background in dietary and nutritional food preparation. It holds recipes that persons can make with vegetables, fruits, and other ingredients found locally.
And it's probably more convenient for us to buy things on the shelf, but when we actually examine them, these things are a lot of chemicals that are harmful to your body.
A notable issue the book aims to resolve is portion sizes, as this can lead to overeating. The recipe book provides measurements allocated for persons to track their calorie intake, among other healthy eating procedures. Importantly, the minister urged persons to reduce their sugar intake, avoid ultra-processed foods, and drink more water. For the newsroom, Lazina Yearwood.
We tell you now that Traffic Chief Mahindra Singh has called for a stronger collective approach to addressing the growing misuse of electric cycles on the roadways, emphasizing that enforcement, not education alone, is needed to curb unsafe practices. Speaking during an interview with the newsroom, Singh said that while the Guyana Police Force has been focusing on traffic education to raise awareness, many e-cycle users continue to disregard the law.
We utilize traffic education as a means to grow awareness as to its use, where best for it to be used, and if it were a case, it comes onto the public declared roadways, it has to be circumstances are those who are utilizing it is sole license to ride or drive in the case, helmets are being worn, it is certified, and the kind of thing. In 90% of the cases, it's not registered, it's not certified, it's not licensed, and the person who is found to be using it is a child below the age of 16. What of the responsibility of the regulatory body that from the moment it is imported, it must now become obligatory to register same, obtain a fitness, obtain the revenue license, and so on, before it is sold. And or when it is sold, it must be followed that prior to use, all of those conditions would have been met. The law was amended to make it, or the requirement for it to be registered and so on. About 7 persons would have lost their lives in 2022 thereafter. And the legislators would have taken the option to amend the law to include it in the law as such. It couldn't be seen that then we were failing. There was a failure, it was addressed. Now we should go beyond the traffic education then. And here I'll take my part to say that we need to take the flag there. Take it beyond the traffic education and start the process of enforcing. Seize multiple of them, have them lodge procedural legislations, and until there is compliance or charge persons, then return them to the rightful owners. Lock up the people who are culpable. And only then maybe there'll be a change that I'd see the public complying with the rules of the road and or the laws that govern the use of that same electric cycle.
Now, Minister of Parliamentary Affairs and Governance, Gail Teixeira, has cautioned both local and foreign investors against engaging in facilitation payments, stressing that such practices are unlawful under international anti-corruption conventions to which Guyana is a party. Speaking at the ministry's anti-corruption roundtable, Teixeira explains that facilitation payments often take the form of companies, particularly foreign firms, offering government official holidays or shopping trips in an attempt to advance investment interests.
We also know, too, we answer on the issue of what is called facilitation payments. Companies, particularly foreign companies, have been found to offer, when they have investment interests, to send government officials on a holiday or a shopping trip or a flight to Miami. This is called facilitation. Under the Conventions Against Corruption, this is illegal, unlawful, and to be prevented. And so, within the context now, where we have a lot of interest in investment, this is an issue to be guarded about. There are many other areas when we come further down the line in the workshop, particularly the last session, when we look at ways in which we can partner, what are kind of ways we can work together to strengthen both the public sector institutions and the private institutions. Our last session is very important. One of the issues that comes up in the convention reports is the issue of records and verification and protection of the records, particularly when these are matters that go to the court. Two of the areas we've signaled in our reports to the UN and the Messaseek has been requesting support in the prosecutorial, investigative, and judicial areas.
When the newsroom returns, the financial, weather, and bridge report, along with sport. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Newsroom. Now for a look at what's happening in sport. We're starting us off with some squash news. The Caribbean Area Squash Association Senior Championship will now be hosted in Guyana after Jamaica had to pull out as host for the November 23rd to 29 event due to the devastation caused by Hurricane Melissa. Hosting the event for a second consecutive year means that Guyana stands a chance to cup a fifth straight overall title after sweeping all team events on home turf in 2024. One of the leading players, Ashley Khalil, said the team is looking forward to the event and their improvement, especially in doubles, is a testament to the new facilities installed by the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport at the National Racquet Center on Wilford Avenue.
Team Guyana is actually now happy that it's at home because we're obviously going to have the home court advantage. For me personally, I'm actually focused to see what our women's team and our men's team are going to do in all the categories, and I think now it's also very interesting to have Guyana competing in the doubles, where we now have the appropriate doubles facility to play the doubles matches. Our team and our players are all improving thanks to the facilities, and actually now having the appropriate facilities to train. Actually, I think last year, 2024, our senior team on home court won the men's, the women's, and the veterans. And I think it was acknowledged tonight at the Sports Awards by winning the Team of the Year in both men and women.
Now, through Kendall's Extreme Sports, the sole distributor for everything paintball in the Caribbean, a 5-member Guyana team will leave on Wednesday for the Paintball World Cup in Miami. The World Cup will feature in excess of 600 teams from over 40 countries, and according to CEO of Kendall's Extreme Sports, Kevin Hines, the Guyanese contingent will embark on a journey to gain exposure and observe best practices at the November 13th to the 17th event. Kevin Hines, as head coach and player, will lead the Guyana team that comprises Luke Chandrapal, Dominic Bowen, Avinash Danraj and Agri Marsh. Through Kendall's Extreme Sports, Heinz has been promoting paintball for the last 13 years, both at the recreational and competitive levels. This World Cup in Miami, he pointed out, is more of a fact-finding mission for the Guyanese as efforts continue to elevate the sport in the country by embracing internationally accepted standards while competing against top-ranked players and nations.
It will be the first time that a Guyanese delegation would be attending the Paintball World Cup, which is the largest tournament, the largest paintball tournament in the world, which would see over 600 teams and over 40 countries competing in this tournament. Our main objectives for this outing would be, first of all, to fly the golden arrowhead on the international stage, because over the years we've been trying to position Guyana as a sport tourism hub. So we're going there to fly the golden arrowhead and to witness best practices for the paintball industry at the highest level. We'll also be scouting teams to invite them down to Guyana for our flagship tournament, which is the Resilience, for our players to get an opportunity to participate, as in play, on this international level against a few high-level teams.
Attending the World Cup, Heinz further explained, is also a step in the direction of regularizing the sport in Guyana by putting structures in place for training and expansion.
The persons on the team are persons who've been playing with us, let's say, 10 plus years. So it's not a case where we just pull random persons to attend this event with us. We have one member, for example, that been with us from the beginning of Kendall's Extreme Sports. So it's persons who are familiar with the industry. So I want them to witness paintball on the international level, so we can now put a better structure in place and start the necessary training in Guyana. Because Guyana is one of the few countries in the world that don't have paintball as a regularized sport.
The trip to the World Cup has been made possible with support from the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport, the Ministry of Tourism, the Guyana Tourism Authority, and Jamar's Associates.
We tend to structure our events in a sport tourism context instead of just promoting it as a sport. Because, for example, with our inter-country tournament, the players would come for the paintball, but they would stay for the experience. So you'll find us incorporating local tours and these kinds of things when we're hosting our regional tournaments. Over the years, we had our challenges based on the fact that it's an unconventional activity and not considered a core sport. But as of recently, we've been in discussion with the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sports, who recently decided to give us the backing in particular for this outing. So when we return, we'll put in a few more things in place to have a bit more structure with the paintball industry in Guyana. But in terms of the overall support of the industry in Guyana, it's been really tremendous over the last 13 years. We're talking about corporate bookings, bookings for birthdays, groups of friends and stuff like that. So we want to put it into a more structured format now. So people would stop viewing it as just, nowadays, we call it wire break, and as an actual sport.
Some chess news now. The talented Kyle Couchman has become the first junior player in Guyana to cross the 2000 ELO rating mark, the Guyana Chess Federation has announced. Now 15, Couchman, the current national junior champion, is the youngest Guyanese player ever to the historic milestone. The Chess Federation, in congratulating the youngster, noted his impressive rise in the game, which puts him on course to becoming a titled player. Couchman is now ranked number 2 in Guyana, just behind national champion and candidate Master Tafin Khan among active players. The ELO rating system measures the relative strength of a player in chess compared to other players. This rating system was officially adopted by the U.S. Chess Federation in 1960 and by FIDE, the world governing body, in 1970. Many chess organizations and websites also use this system to rate players. Football news now. Anai Secondary defeated Marian Academy in the final of the Guyana Football Federation's Blue Water Shipping Girls Under-15 nationwide competition, cupping the title in their first appearance in a nationwide tournament. In the third-place playoff, President's College prevailed over Warramuri Secondary in a game that went to 15 penalty kicks to decide the winner. On the individual side, Aaliyah John of Anai Secondary copped the MVP award. Michaela Walker of President's College was adjudged best goalkeeper, while Ashanti Scott of Bushlot Secondary and Kimora Edwards of President's College had a share of the most goals, scoring 12 each. After the final, Jennifer Faulkner of the Blue Water Shipping and General Secretary of the Guyana Football Federation, Pushparga Chattopadhyay, spoke of the impact of the tournament on female football development.
Blue Water is incredibly proud to be once again sponsoring this tournament. And I want to take the opportunity to encourage all of you young ladies to continue striving, continue training, because tournaments like this not only showcases your collective talent, but it also spotlights our rising stars. There is so much more to come. And as Mr. Chatterjee just said, we want equal space for you young ladies in the world of football. Congratulations to all of you. I would like to thank the GFF for coordinating and organizing such a good tournament. A job well done.
The future is not just the boys, the future is the girls. So let us all be united in ensuring that football, the sport, is having space, an equal space for both boys and girls, and competitions like these are ensuring and the visibility that the girls should get at this level.
We see NI secondary emerge as the winners and the Blue Water Shipping champions as the first time in the competition.
Now, in wake of the devastating impact of Hurricane Melissa, the Republic Bank CPL has pledged a donation of $100,000 to support relief and rebuilding efforts across Jamaica. This contribution will be made through the Office of the Prime Minister of Jamaica, ensuring that the funds are distributed efficiently and directed to the areas where they are most urgently needed as communities begin the long process of recovery and reconstruction. Recognizing Jamaica's vital role in both Caribbean cricket and the CPL's history, the league stands in solidarity with all those affected. Many within the CPL family, from players and coaches to staff and fans, have deep ties to Jamaica, making this initiative especially meaningful. In addition to the donation, the CPL will be collaborating with Chris Gale to amplify his ongoing fundraising efforts. Through its extensive network of social media channels, media partners, and broadcast platforms, CPL will help raise awareness globally and encourage fans to contribute to the relief initiatives that are supporting those most in need. And with that, we've come to the end of the news for this evening. Of course, you can find updates on these and other stories on our website, newsroom.gy, and all social media platforms. On behalf of the entire news team, I am Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for watching. Be safe. See you next time.